In Boris Effects Continuum, when you see ML at the end of a filter name, it means machine learning, which is artificial intelligence. Witness protection ML and license plate ML can conceal faces and license plates on cars instantly. The first thing on the agenda today is witness protection, and we're going to see how this looks with a bunch of different clips. In the effects palette, go to BCC Match Move. And there you'll find BCC Plus Witness Protection ML. Drag it directly onto the clip, and just like that, you are done. Let's render to playback. Once you apply this filter, it'll initialize and immediately take effect, motion tracking automatically every face that's visible. It's using an AI model to detect where faces are and where they're moving, and specific parameters can be adjusted. So let's try it on this clip, which is a little more challenging. What makes this shot particularly challenging is the fact that this man holding his little girl, arguing with everybody on the bus, has his face turned sideways and then towards the back. But because we only have to wait for it to initialize the first time we apply it to any clip, the moment we apply it is the moment it begins to work. How exciting is that? Let's see what it looks like. You can see that most people don't have a whole lot of movement, and it doesn't have to do a lot of searching. But for these three spots, it's really trying to figure out what is a face. Now let's take a look at some of the parameters. We can change the overall scale, we can change the scale by width, and height, of course. And we can also feather the edge. The further we go, the more revealed our faces are. Let's put it somewhere in the middle and increase that overall scale one more time. Now render to playback. When you apply artificial intelligence, it's doing the first job you told it to do. Find faces, motion track them. This little adjustment improves it quite a bit. And speaking of improvements, every time Boris Effects comes up with a new model, it's updated here every time you update Continuum. Check out this next shot. The main subject's face is obscured, and some faces are obscured by arms or hands. This scene is a little melodramatic, and you even have some interesting characters in the background, like this guy with vampire teeth, or this guy with missing teeth. But you gotta love the miscellaneous signs like protest. So let's add BCC Plus Witness Protection to this one. Like I said before, the results are fantastic and instantaneous. Let's say she had a very distinct forehead and a chin that everyone knows, and you don't want anyone to recognize those features. Because the AI tends to recognize the center of the head instead of the center of the face, let's expand the width, and maybe the height just a little bit. And this time, let's check out the obscuration effect controls. And we can turn it into a mosaic. Make it something normal like that. And let's feather those edges, increase the blur amount, adjust the width and the scale, rein in our feather just a little bit. And one of my favorite sliders is the Mosaic Scramble. What's good about the Scramble is that the mosaic squares no longer are in the shape of a goatee or the dark spots where the eyes are. It's just sort of all over the place, so you really can't pick up any features below that blur. You'll notice that even though this man's arm goes right in front of this man's face, the AI can still tell what's what. Now check out this one. It may look really complicated to us, but the AI knows what it's supposed to do. As always, just drag and drop, and every single face is covered. Let's play it back. Now let's add a couple of adjustments, increase the scale, feather the blur. But when you feather the blur looking at people in the foreground, I want you to notice that in the background, that same amount of feathering around a smaller ellipse will feather it all the way to the core, meaning the blur is reduced significantly in the distant background. So when we adjust the blur, let's keep an eye on the people in the background. Let's make the mosaic size fairly large and decrease the mosaic size on the x-axis to make those rectangles much more square. Now let's scramble slightly. Now play it back. Now, I don't know about you, but I may have expected AI to think that this balloon with sunglasses and a smile would have been one of the faces, but fortunately, it knows better than that. Now let me show you one last creative thing we can do in Witness Protection ML. Let's go back to that first example. The first thing I want to show you within the Effect Editor panel is this great little feature called Bypass. This effectively switches off the filter. As we can see in this image, it has somewhat of a log color palette. But what if we wanted to increase the brightness of their faces so they pop out a little bit better? click here to reset to defaults. First, increase the feather, and then under obscuration effect, turn the blur amount all the way down. And down here, increase the brightness. Now use bypass to see the before and the after. You can even twirl down compare mode and do a side by side. This way we can increase the brightness and see the difference. Now just imagine trying to do that in production. I don't know of any gaffer that can pull that off. But let's say you want to keep certain faces and occlude others. Take a look at this clip, for example. There's 3 characters that look like they're talking to one another, and most of the shot, they're in focus. So we want to isolate this person, and this person. Yet again, add BCC Plus Witness Protection ML. So click on Mocha Mask, go to the Essentials tab, and now you'll see a Detect button right here. Give it a click, and now click Detect Faces Forward and Backward. As you can see over here, it created a folder and a list of splines within. Select the one that you want to get rid of, and you'll find it in the list. Shift select multiple to locate them in the list and click delete. Now, just in case they reappear after this woman is occluded, yep, there she is. Let's select that one again and delete it from the list. As you can see, some of the shapes appear, disappear, and so we're gonna have to scrub through and clean it up a little bit by deleting some more of the face masks. Hold Z and click and drag to zoom in, and then X to click and drag to move around. So you can see the in and out points right here, and the purple line shows how long that mask stays on. It already has a keyframe, this little green arrow, so we're just gonna move some of the nodes and adjust this so that it doesn't touch the face of our main character. And there we go. So that's one example. Let's find the other ones that appear and disappear randomly. Like this one, which we'll delete. There it is again, which we'll delete. Some other unnecessary ones are the background that already has blur. This is how you can get highly detailed. By cleaning it up, you make it look a lot less jittery. Check out how this one continues even though there's someone in the foreground covering her face. Let's just say we want this layer to stop right here and not continue. We can go to Layer Properties and click Set Layer Out Point to Current Frame, which shortens this purple line. There, I think we did it. Don't forget to click Save and close Mocha. Let's see what that looks like. Now let's take a quick look at license plate ML. These shots were taken by our very own Ben Brownlee in the Big Apple, New York City. In the effect palette, you don't have to go very far. Again, it's under BCC Match Move, BCC Plus License Plate ML. Drag and drop, and yet again it works instantly with no adjustments on your part. You might immediately notice that the blur on the license plate doesn't last the entire time it's on the screen. In fact, there's a pattern. The closer the license plate gets to the camera, the AI decides it's no longer necessary, because once it's closer, it's far less legible. Maybe that's a 2E5E7. And American license plates are not that long. What's happening is angular velocity. Imagine your camera is the center of a circle, and angular velocity is measured by how fast the objects orbit that point in the center. So objects further away look like they're moving slower, and objects closer to the center look like they're moving faster. And this is the same thing as the parallax phenomena. So real quick, let's drop it onto this clip. Where cars are further away or standing still that didn't have motion blur like this, the AI knows to apply the filter. Let's check it out. Check out the yellow taxi. The license plate is never legible. Now, if we were really worried about the audience picking up on that license plate, we could open up BCC Plus Blur, and we could use Pixel Chooser to open Mocha and motion track that rectangle. And it would be very simple, because even with motion blur, rectangles don't stand a chance against Mocha. And you can learn more about motion tracking and all of the other plugins that Boris FX offers in Continuum, Sapphire, Crumple Pop, and so on if you go to borisfx.com, where you can find more of our tutorials and see more of me. I'm Zak Ciotti for Boris FX. Thank you for watching.